Hi friends, it's Byron and I'm back with a brand new video. I recently took a solo cruise with Virgin Voyages Cruises on the Southern Caribbean islands, and let's just jump right in the video. And we were on the Resilient Lady. Let's get into a room tour. Now, the room I thought was very cramped when I first got into it, but as I lived in it for a week, it was actually perfect for one person. There was plenty of storage for one person, and then of course it came with a mini fridge. And then the bathroom was tight as well, but very comfortable to use. I had no complaints about it. That shower head, the one that's on the wall, was, oh my god, it was awesome. But then there was a rain shower head there as well. And then safety's always first. So there was the safe and then some more storage. And then there's a little button over there when you want housekeeping to come. There was a do not disturb button, and right up under that one is when you wanted them to come clean, and they came to clean.
Welcome aboard. Your favorite ladies are here to guide you through the safety rules. Let's get started.
Okay, now let's go outside and explore the ship itself. Now, I mentioned earlier that we ported from Puerto Rico, and if I didn't, we did, Old San Juan, and this is a look of Old San Juan now at the cruise port. And then that's that national park there with the flag on the top of that building. I forget what the name of the park is, but there is a fee, like a think of $10 to go visit the national park that's there. Now, every day on the elevator, it told us where we were, the emergency contact, and I always took a picture of that. Now, navigating the ship, they had a hall A and a hall Z. Whichever room your hall was on, just take that hall. You didn't really want to get confused. And then another thing, if the arrow pointed one way, that was the only way you were going to get to where you were going to be. There were a lot of Instagram moments around the ship. Yes, this cruise was kid free, but they did have an arcade area where if you wanted to play the arcade games, you could, and it was all included. And of course, Miss Pac-Man was there. So there was many places to lounge around the ship, which was so awesome. You didn't have to be with everybody all the time. I mean, there was nooks and crannies. You didn't have to bring any of your own games or books or whatever it is that you needed. They had it there. And this place is called the Dock House. You saw it in the daytime, and then this is that at night. And then, of course, I was out there frequently drinking my newfound vodka spritz, which was $11, and I just poured it in a glass over ice. And then this is that main foyer area where they would have like a lot of the live music and things like that. Again, some more games and things where you all can play. People like to play Jenga there. And then this place also had chicken wings. Now, let's get into the port of calls. We first stopped in the Virgin Island of Tortola, which was a beautiful island, or is a beautiful island. And our ship in the distance, and then a picture of me. So we did visit a fishing village, like right over there to your right, not the way that I'm panning, but when I pan back, that's what they call like the little healing area of the ocean. And then we went in a little restaurant there where they gave us some fish soup. I thought I had a better clip of that, but you guys are going to see it coming up here soon. I apologize. The fish soup was very fishy. It may have had bones. I don't think I would have eaten the entire thing, but it was okay for what it was. A lot of people were out there surfing. So then we went down to the marina and we visited this place, which their signature drink was a painkiller. And you can get 1, 2, 3, or 4. And that was pretty much just the number of shots. Now this was a pineapple kind of cream, kind of orangey taste to it. It was pretty good though. And then there was some shopping and things that you could do in the marina. I actually got like some little knickknacks and snacks and things to take back to the ship. And you can't see it, I didn't put the clip in, but there was like live chickens on each of these islands, just everywhere. So now we're going to do our second stop, which was Barbados. And no, I did not go see Rihanna's house, or Rihanna's house, and I know that's what most of the people would have done, but instead I went on a submarine. I don't know if I would have ever gotten a chance to be on a submarine again, so I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to do this submarine tour, and I believe the tour was somewhere around like $120. And that first tour in the British Virgin Islands was about $70, and it was a total island tour of about 6 hours. So getting out to the submarine, because it was not right there at the dock, you had to take a ferry boat there, and this video doesn't give it justice because that boat was moving and grooving. I don't usually get seasick, but I was feeling a little squeamish myself. So just to prove that we were in a real submarine, people, here you go. And it gets better. So then there's some of the fish and things that we can see. And if you did get squeamish and you had to puke, there was a bag there for you. This is kind of just showing you how tight we were in the thing. And then as we go down, we reached a depth of about 150 feet deep. I didn't really get a picture of that, but anyway, trust me, it was 150 feet. That's the deepest that we went. And then, of course, there's a little shipwreck that's there. And then a little stingray right at the bottom of the screen, if you can't see him. And then this is just a picture of the coral reef that was there as it kind of sways with the current. And then there were some small fish that was swimming in there that you guys may or may not can see. And as we got deeper. Now, let's move on to St. Lucia. One of the things that I really liked about St. Lucia is that we went to that active volcano. So now here's some sights in St. Lucia. And one of the things that I want to point out when we went to a lot of these islands, but first let me get to, that's banana ketchup. That's on a plantain chip. They were very proud of the banana ketchup. I didn't think it was that great, but it was what it was. We also sampled like 5 or 6 different types of rum. This is what I wanted to mention. You had to pay $1 to use the bathroom on all of those islands. This was one of the waterfalls that they had at the island, and they were very proud of it. Look, it was a very nice place, but once you've been to Niagara Falls, there you go. So then this is where we went to the volcano, and people do those mud baths and whatever it is that they sink themselves into. This volcano was active. You can smell the sulfur. And then in there was a hot springs. I believe the Dutch was the person that took over these islands first, and they built that. That was a man that lived there that was taking a bath in that little pool, and they live up there, up those steps. And then this is just more of the volcano. So the lady that was giving us the tour said that the volcano blew its top off, so we were standing inside of the volcano. I know, when you think of a volcano, you really think of like lava and all that stuff, and it may be deep in the core of the volcano. And then that's some of the people that were taking their little volcano mud bath or whatever they call it. So let's move on to St. Maarten. So when I got to St. Maarten, one of the things that I really wanted to do was go to Maho Beach and see the planes come in. So that's exactly what I did. And this place, again, different island. You still had to pay that $1 or $2, I should say. They was charging $1 at the first one, but they charged $1 or $2 depending on the island. So this was a really small beach, believe it or not. And then you could walk out into the water, but it got deep really quick. So just be careful if you ever make it there. And then, of course, they have the warning signs because on the day that we were there, the planes couldn't come in as low. It was a little bit windy. I was talking to the tour guide that we had, but she said normally they can come in a little bit lower, but they wasn't coming in as low when we were there. And those are some resorts that are there off to the right. And then you can also look online to see when the planes were going to come in and what type of planes were coming in. Somebody was looking on their phone for us. And that was about one of the bigger jets that had come into that island that we saw there. And here's me with a picture with it. So now let's get into the restaurant and the dinings that were on the ship, which Razzle Dazzle was one of the first places that I went to. Those were ordered chicken wings. Those 2 balls are salt and pepper. I did have the lamb chops with some mixed vegetables and the New York strip steak. I thought it was a little fatty, but it was still good. The lamb chops was excellent. Let's move on now to Test Kitchen. It was one of the places that they experiment with food there. And believe it or not, it was really good. If you ever get a chance to cruise with Virgin, make sure you book a night where you eat at Test Kitchen. Also, they change the menu at least 2 to 3 times a week. So maybe you want to go like at the beginning of your trip and then again at the end of your trip. Now, I do know I tried to make a reservation again for this particular restaurant because I went at the beginning of the trip. I wanted to do it at the end of the trip, and you couldn't make 2 reservations in the app for the same day for a sit-down restaurant. You know, at first, like this part right here wasn't that tasteful, but once I started putting more on it, it got like a little seasoned kind of sea salt kind of taste to it, which actually is pretty good. And believe it or not, they set me by this guy, so I actually ended up making a friend that night. This is my first time ever eating a raw egg, and you can see my facial expression when she take this off and I test it. But it did have a smoky type taste to it, and I don't know, it just tasted really green, if that's even a taste that you can explain. And sorry about the angle of the camera. I honestly think I'd be having it at the right angle, and it's just not. And let's just say, friends, I don't normally try a lot of new things, but I really did try some things here. So this was scallops and ham with a chicken broth and some seaweed. Oh my God, that was delicious. And then the main course was some kind of beef tenderloin with raspberry sauce, blueberry, and 70% chocolate. That's a potato, believe it or not. It was so good. And I forget whatever that broth that she put on there. She could have been talking. I could have been talking over. I'm sorry. But Gambae means cheers in Korean. This Korean restaurant was awesome. It's very interactive. And they do sit you with other people. I was with 5 other guys, which I don't show them on film. But anyway, it was a pretty good time. I did actually converse and have a good time with those guys. And they were all from Puerto Rico. Now that rice egg thing wasn't that great. And that sauce was medium to hot, but it was pretty good. Now that was a scallop and shrimp. And then of course she was cooking like a lot of the barbecue stuff there. So then I moved on to one of the nights I went to Extra Virgin. This is the Italian place. And those meatballs with the mozzarella cheese and the marinara sauce was to die for. The calamari was very hot. It was very crispy, very good. And then I had like they make their own pasta there. And it was like the potato, spinach, something kind of pasta. But anyway, it was delicious. So now let's move on to like people like to call it the Mexican place, but it's Mexican expired pink agave. I will say that the music in here was it. So I was hungry that night, you guys. That was a chicken enchilada. And then there's this street corn that they normally like people rant and rave about. I didn't think it was that great, but it was what it was. And then of course another New York strip with some kind of cheese on it and a glaze, which was actually really, really good. Now let's go on to their steak place that was actually on the ship. And remember, friends, all of these places you could just go in just regular clothes. As long as you didn't have anything hanging out, you were fine. That bread was to die. Then I had some clam chowder with that shrimp was on top, delicious. And this is a filet mignon. I had it medium. It was really good with some double twice baked potatoes with some kind of mozzarella and feta cheese. This is how I like my steak. It could have been a little bit juicier, but I put that sea salt on it and it was delicious. This was a caramel hazelnut chocolate mousse dessert. Very delicious. So now let's get on to the quick eats where we got like the lounges and bars and things like that. That was some kind of steak frites, and then there's some grilled shrimp, and they had many things like some chicken and other things like that. The galley is what they call the buffet kind of area there. You do not serve yourself. They had many stations that were there that you get served at. If you didn't want to go to the stations, you could just put that thing up and place an order. This is where I ate most of my breakfast at every single morning. This pizza place was pretty much open 22 hours a day, and the pizza was delicious. They had many types of pizza there. I got the 5 cheese pizza, and you can add meat on it. I put ham on it, and it was to die for. Let's get into the entertainment. Shangela was one of the people there for the entertainment. And it was a one-woman show of hers, and she actually was really good. Now, that was in the Red Room, and this show was also in the Red Room. It wasn't interactive, but the actors and things were out on the floor, so you had to have them make way and just pay attention to where they are. If you didn't want to be down on the floor, you could actually be on the next level, which was the 7th floor, and you could just look down into the galley. And it was a love story about some princess with good and evil. And I really wanted to capture a lot of the acting and things of the shows, because a lot of people like to think that cruise entertainment is a little cheesy. At times, some things were cheesy, but you have to remember it is a cruise ship. It's not a show on Broadway. And of course, the red was evil, and now this is the good. And now the show started at either 7 or 8:30 or 7:30 and 8:30, and they were ran about an hour long. For all of the shows or events or whatever, pretty much was an hour long. And then as we get into the entertainment, they had like many people that sang there that I didn't go see. They had a whole bunch of comedians. Fortress Filmstress was there. I'm not usually into this kind of comedy, but believe it or not, you guys, it was pretty good. I rather enjoyed this one.
I don't know. Here we go! With the jazz hands here, the jazz hands there. Here, jazz, there, jazz, everywhere, jazz hands free. The poo! Then here, poo, there, poo, everywhere, pretty poo. Now the flag! Here, there, everywhere, now. And a tug here, and a tug there. Here's a tug everywhere, tug. Oh my God, oh man, oh my. You know what, they did such a great job. Let's do one more time, a little bit back. Here we go! Here, the jazz, there, everywhere, jazz, the poo, here, poo,
it really was a good time. Now let's go on to bingo with the diva. And I met the diva a lot around the ship, and believe it or not, we really did play bingo. And the prizes were like from $1,000 to $3,500. So here's karaoke with the diva. Look, I didn't have enough drinks to do a karaoke song, but this guy did. I tried not to get him on here too much. Now let's move on to one of the shows. This is Another Rose. Now this show comes with drink and a dinner, and it's also $50. This is one that you have to pay for. Now, if you want first row floor seating, you're going to be in the place where they move around and act around you. But if you just want floor seating, where I sit at, then you can just look out into the look at the show, and you don't have to move around with them as they move the stage and everything around. I personally didn't think that the dinner was great, but it was what it was. Now remember, if you sat where I was sitting, you didn't have to move around while they transformed the stage. And then this was another show about a love story about a good and evil kind of thing too. And then this was my favorite, believe it or not. These guys were awesome. And half the time they were naked, but they did wear like sheer things over that you didn't get to completely see it, but it was to be seen. And then they also sang during the show, and then there was a little bit of like a cabaret striptease sort of thing. This was a really good show, and this is not just to Virgin. These guys tour about the country, so if you get to see them anywhere, go see them. It was a really good show. Okay, friends, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.